Most new reverb plugins don't excite me at all. I already have a Hall of Vintage Verb, and for a regular reverb, it's pretty hard to beat. But Blackmagic isn't just another holler plate reverb, it has 7 completely different engines, and some of them are pretty crazy. So let's take a look at it and see if it's worth your money. Alright, I feel like the best way to review this is to just go through each of the 7 engines and show you kind of what they sound like and give my thoughts on them. We're going to start off with Drift. Drift is a cool one. As the name might imply, it has some movement to it. Before we add any Blackmagic, this is the piano we're going to be working with. So just a dark melody, very simple. We turn that Blackmagic Reverb on and it transforms it to this. We can bring up the mix so you can hear what that reverb is doing. Okay, not your standard typical reverb. Definitely has some cool texture to it. We can change this FX knob and it shows you on that screen kind of what it's doing with the sound. The tone knob is a filter. We bring that up, we're only getting the high end. Bring it down, we're only getting the low end. And it's just affecting the reverb, not the dry signal. Okay, so that's an example of drift. Very cool. But the next one is my personal favorite, the Ghost. Let's listen to the same piano sample playing through the Ghost reverb. So you can hear that cool, dark, creepy texture you're getting from this. It creates like some moving like reflections swarming around your main sound, and it's just a super dope sound you get out of it. We can change the FX. So we're getting more kind of a lower sound here. Bring it up to Graveyard, we're getting more of like a screamy sound from it. Super cool. My favorite engine by far. I haven't heard another reverb that does something like that. And most of the time when I'm making beats with this, Ghost engine is usually the one I end up using. But there are some other dope ones as well that we're going to get into. Another nice feature in here is they have this reset button. Just puts the preset back to its standard form. If you like were messing around with it, like, I like how it sounded originally, quickly go back right there. Another thing real quick I can touch on is this dice. It's just going to re-roll your preset and change it to one of the other presets. So if you're just testing things out, you don't know exactly which engine you want to use, which preset you're looking for, that's a cool way to just kind of randomize it, play around with the sounds. Hopping into our next reverb engine, it is Glitch. Now Glitch is probably the most interesting engine in here. It does reverses and stutters. I changed the sound here. Let's go ahead and disable it for now so we can hear the dry signal. This is what we're playing. Okay, so a weird plucky sound. We add on the Blackmagic with the experiment preset from Glitch engine. Sounds like this. So you can hear those kind of stutters, some reverses in there. We're getting very cool ear candy like sounds from this. And that's what the Glitch engine is super cool for, is making these ear candy pieces, these textural elements. If we mess with the FX, bring it up, we get more stutters. Bring it down, we're getting reverses. So you can kind of hear what those are doing with the sound. The size for this one isn't like your typical reverb size where it's like creating the room bigger or whatever. This is changing the segment size that is going into these reverses and stutters. So as you come up, you're letting in bigger chunks. Bring it down, you're getting very small chunks from the original sound. So super cool engine. That's one that I like to use more on plucky weird sounds, not so much my main elements. I did set up one going back to that original piano. If we use the same preset on that, this is what that sounds like. So definitely could still be used, but it's definitely easy to overdo because it's a very, very strange effect you get out of that. Yeah, the glitch engine, very cool to use. Like I said, I like to use it for more like accents and stuff like that. Moving on to the next one, we're going to look at the Rust engine. Now, Rust is a more like a tape saturation, lo-fi degradation type engine, and it can make some really cool textures. I changed up the piano melody here, still using the same instrument, just different MIDI pattern. Wanted to change it up, you know, get us some different melodies going on. But yeah, this one sounds super cool. So there's two different ends there. Get a little bit different type of effect depending which side you go to. So Rust is a super cool one if you're trying to add texture, you're trying to get that lo-fi sound. The next engine is Shine, and Shine is a shimmer verb. So you might have a shimmer reverb already, nothing reinventing the wheel here. This one probably sounds a little bit different than your shimmer verb because it is still fitting into this dark reverb sound that we're getting from all these engines. So let's listen to it. So this is full mix, just the reverb. And on the FX, so you can go to the depth or you can go to the sparkle, and that kind of changes the sound you're getting out of that. This is another go-to engine for me and my use of it so far. Just adding a nice layer in that background sounds super dope. Really transforms this into a very nice melody. The next two engines we're not going to spend much time on because they're more of typical reverb sounds. But we'll take a look at Crypt, and this one, we're going from a coffin to a catacomb, and this is just a room reverb. Sounds like this. So as we move all the way up here on the catacomb, we're getting a little bit wider. We bring it down to coffin. It's more confined, tighter room. So it's a cool reverb still. But it's more, you know, straightforward room reverb, but it's still darker and has more character in it than a typical reverb engine where it's just like a clean room. And then the last engine that we're going to talk about is Veil. Veil is also kind of a similar engine to what you'd be used to in normal reverb, but this one's more lush than Crypt. So as we move up here, it's more clear. We bring it down. It's more dark, not so bright. It's another cool thing. If you want to make some cool ear candy like textures, move that size around as it's playing, record that. You can get some really cool warped sounds out of it. So that's all 7 engines. I think they're all super dope. Let's get into the final thoughts. So let's go over my overall thoughts about the plugin. The things I like are it doesn't sound like every other reverb. It provides a certain level of creative inspiration, and it really tailors that dark aesthetic that matches the sounds that I tend to use. I like to do the dark trap, the cinematic style beats, and you know, that dark ambient textures. I love that kind of sound. So for me, this is something that definitely fits into my flow and my sound, and it's interesting. It's not a plain reverb. What some people may not like about it is that it is a pretty niche reverb. Some of the engines specifically are pretty niche. It's not your everyday reverb or your go-to reverb if you're wanting a clean sound. This is more creative, this is more textured, this is very tailored to that dark aesthetic. And it could possibly, you know, be easy to overdo some of these engines. You hear as that mix level goes all the way up that the sound may be a little bit too harsh or whatever, but you could be taming that with an EQ, or, you know, just mixing it in properly. I don't think that's a big con, but some people may find that they're overdoing it on the reverb. So who is this for? This is for people like me who like to make dark beats for Travis Scott, Don Toliver. You like to make cinematic trap, you like to make like horror music for like movie scoring, or you just like dark ambient sounds. This is a perfect reverb for you. If you're just looking for a common hall or plate reverb, this probably isn't your go-to or going to replace your everyday reverb like a hall of vintage verb. But if you're wanting something that's more unique, more tailored to those specific sounds, then this is the plugin for you. Breaking it down into the final categories, sound quality, I would say I give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a very good sound quality for what you're trying to achieve with it. I think it delivers. The creativity, I give it a 10 out of 10. I haven't seen another reverb like this one. And for the style of music that I'm making, I find ways to fit it in almost every time. Ease of use, I'll give it a 9 out of 10 as well. You know, there's not a whole lot of controls to deal with. You just have those few knobs, you can play with them, get it to the levels you want it to be at, and you're good to go. Versatility, this is where I would score it a little bit lower. I would say maybe a 7. And that's just because it is, you know, a more niche style of reverb for these darker beats. It's not something I would use for every single melody. If I'm making an R&B beat, for example, this isn't going to be the reverb I go to. It's going to be probably Valhalla Vintage Verb. And then value, I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a reasonable price, especially if you use the discount code Frenchy25, you'll get 25% off. So if this is a reverb you're wanting to get, link is in the description. Check it out. Use that discount code. There's a 7-day free trial if you just want to try it out for yourself. That is a great option. If you want to see me use this in actual production, I've used it in my last 2 videos for Key Glock and for Future. So check one of those videos out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.